Hello everyone, I'm Professor Lee of Dr. Wildlove TV. Among the many causes of decreased immunity, do you know the most important cause? If this is not addressed, no other method will improve immunity. That is chronic stress. Moderate stress is very beneficial to health, but chronic stress that continues for a long time and accumulates is the biggest cause of health damage. Among them, the immune system is the most affected by chronic stress. Because chronic stress not only reduces the number of immune cells, but also reduces their activity. Among immune cells, the ones that are like field commanders that eliminate bacteria and cancer cells on the front line are natural killer cells. Chronic stress reduces the number of NK cells by up to 40%. It's fortunate that the activity is maintained even if the number is reduced, but the activity is also reduced. In the video you see, the white substances released from NK cells are interferon gamma, a weapon of NK cells, and this is reduced by up to 30 to 50%. If NK cells are command of the immune cell at the forefront, the commander-in-chief of the immune cells active in the rear is the helper T cell. It's an important cell that gives orders to all immune cells, and if there is chronic stress, the number and activity decrease by 25%. In addition, this cell also has an immune regulation function that controls excessive immune responses, but if this function is reduced, substances called inflammatory cytokine increase, causing chronic inflammation, an important cause of various diseases. Autoimmune disease is one of them. If the cells that remove cancer cells from the front are NK cells, then the cells at the back are T cells. To be precise, among the various types of T cells, they are cytotoxic T cells. In people with chronic stress, the number and activity decrease by about 20%, reducing the ability to remove infected cells or cancer cells. B cells are cells that create antibodies that neutralize bacteria, viruses, etc. But people with chronic stress have a 20% decrease in antibody formation rate even after getting vaccinated. Why does chronic stress cause immune cell function to decrease so drastically? When chronic stress occurs, the levels of stress hormone cortisol, epinephrine, and norepinephrine increase significantly. The degree of increase varies greatly, but cortisol level increase by about 20 to 50%, and epinephrine and norepinephrine levels increase by 30 to 80%. This increased stress hormone is continuously produced by the adrenal gland, an organ that receives orders from the sensitive brain, but it does not continue to increase indefinitely. If chronic stress is not resolved and continues, eventually, even the ability to produce stress hormone will be exhausted. The increased stress hormone are a problem, but when they are exhausted and no longer produced, our bodies will experience extreme chronic fatigue and burnout, and our immune function will decrease even more. Increased stress hormones are released into the blood, and then they meet various immune cells in the blood. However, there are receptors on the cell membranes of immune cells to which stress hormone can bind. As you can see, the immune cell membrane has glucocorticoid receptors to which the stress hormone cortisol can bind, and adrenaline receptors to which other stress hormones, epinephrine and norepinephrine, can bind. If stress hormone bind right here, the immune cells cannot move properly to the necessary area, the immune cell's ability to attack cancer cells decrease, and the immune cells may change into other cells that secrete inflammatory substances. And that's not all. Immune cells that have been bound to stress hormones for a long time will eventually die due to abnormal signaling, so the numbers will eventually decrease. How should we manage stress? Get enough sleep, eat a healthy diet, exercise regularly and rest, avoid excessive stress as much as possible, etc. You've probably heard a lot of these things, right? They're all true and you all know them, right? But it's hard to put them into practice, right? So, I'll tell you the two most important solutions from a different perspective. Stress is not something to avoid, it's something to overcome. This is because our brain are not designed to avoid stress, but to deal with it. Therefore, to overcome stress, you just have to do the two things your brain likes. First, the brain likes to have goals. Only when there is a goal, the brain creates new neural circuits and improves its function. Without a goal, the brain cannot overcome stress and struggle with trivial things. Goals do not have to be grandiose, even trivial things are fine. And the most important thing is that the brain likes to have goals, not to achieve them. Being obsessed with achieving goals is greed to the brain. The desire to do better than others, the desire to expect from others, the desire to be recognized by others. If these desires continue, the brain will continue to release stress hormones. How can you control our greed? You just need to know what kind of features your brain has. The brain? Just set your own goal for anything and steadily move forward step by step according to your situation. And your brain will always maintain its optimal state, and in fact, someday you will reach your desired goal without even realizing it. Do you have a goal right now? If you don't, you can make one. And if you do have a goal, do not be impatient. Take a deep breath and slowly and steadily move forward little by little. Second, the brain likes to be constantly recharged. If the brain is left in a discharged state for a long time, its function will rapidly decline. The way to recharge is simple. When you feel difficult, you should stop thinking about solving it for a while and let your brain rest. The most common and best way is to exercise, take a short trip, or have a hobby. When you stop for a while and the discharged brain recharge, it creates a solution. This is a characteristic of our brain. It's an ability that everyone has, and it has nothing to do with academic background or financial ability. There is something called fast charging when charging a cell phone, right? The most powerful fast charging method among the brain recharging method is sleeping. Just stop for a while, eat well, and sleep well for a day or a few days, and your brain will be fully charged. Then you'll be able to make the right judgment about the difficult situation and find a solution. Even things that felt difficult in the past will feel less difficult when your brain is charged, so stress hormone will never increase rapidly. An uncharged brain is useless no matter how expensive the treatment is. Of course, even the best herbs are not very effective. So, I will summarize the two key points to overcome stress once again. 1. Set a goal, but don't be greedy to achieve it. Just steadily work step by step according to your situation. Then, the brain will continue to create new neural network while maintaining an optimal state and growing. A grown brain has new ability, so naturally, your goals will be achieved someday. 2. You should not leave the brain in a discharged state, but constantly recharge it. Money, academic background, and the other people's advice have nothing to do with recharging the brain. If you stop for a moment, rest, and get some sleep, it will recharge. Today, let's forget everything, blow everything up, and drink a lot. Some people say that's right. Of course, I've tried it too. However, this is not only painful for the brain, but also for the body. Of course, it's good to drink moderately and enjoyably. Now, I'll tell you how to choose the right herb for you among the 5 herbs started in part 1, 2, and 3. I'll summarize only the main point briefly. If you are healthy but want to manage your immunity consistently, you can choose from ginseng, astragalus, and holy basil and use them long term. There are many people with diabetes and hyperlipidemia, right? Ginseng and holy basil improve immunity and also improve diabetes and hyperlipidemia. If you have a cold, flu, or respiratory infection that lasts a long time, echinacea is good for short-term use, and ginseng and holy basil are good for long-term use. For cancer patients who want to manage their immunity consistently without a side effect, ginseng and astragalus are good. For patients with autoimmune disease where the problem is not the decrease in immunity but rather excessive increase, astragalus is the best. For acute stress or acute insomnia, ashwagandha short-term use. For those with chronic stress or chronic fatigue, ginseng and holy basil are good. And for patients with hypothyroidism, ashwagandha is good. If you are hospitalized or discharged from acute serious illness, astragalus is good. And if you have poor heart, lung, or kidney function, astragalus is good. Finally, if you choose one of these, wouldn't it be better to start by watching the side effects and precautions in the detailed video again? This is the end of the first lecture on the best way to make a healthy immune system. Everyone, you have worked very hard. Next week, I'll begin the longevity and anti-aging treatment lecture that everyone is interested in and curious about. I'll introduce the best anti-aging treatment method that anyone can practice right now based on the latest aging theory. So, please watch it and put at least one into practice in your daily life. Until we meet again next week, I hope you all stay healthy.